Even though the Titanic disaster occurred more than a century ago, it has left a permanent impression on the face of modern humanity. In today's video, we'll be talking about the 10 facts about the Titanic. Number 1. Before the Titanic even left port, people died on it. At Belfast's Harland and Wolff shipyard, where the Titanic was built over 26 months, there were 218 minor accidents and 28 serious mishaps. 8 workers lost their lives. For the time, which was 1 death for every £100,000 spent, this was a lower number. Given that the Titanic cost £1.5 million to construct, 15 fatalities may have been expected. The majority of the 8 died from wounds they received from falling, either from the ship or the staging it was surrounded by. Number 2. The largest liner in the world. The Titanic was the largest mobile man-made object at the time of its launch. She measured 28 meters broad and 269 meters long. She was 32 meters high from the keel to the bridge and 53 meters high to the top of the stacks. It was thought that the Titanic should have 4 exhaust stacks due to her majesty. However, the original, effective design by Thomas Andrews only required 3. There was only 1 stack on the ship that was completely ornamental. Titanic's magnitude was unheard of because of rivalry between her owners, White Star Line and Cunard Line. Number 3. One of 3. To build the Titanic alone would have been too expensive due to her size and the additional machinery she would need. She was constructed alongside 2 sister ships, both of which had exciting lives. First, to be built was the RMS Olympic, which was launched on September 20, 1910. The somewhat smaller Olympic held the title of largest liner in the world for the following 12 months. Number 4. Room for one more. When the Titanic sank in 1912, there were about 2,200 passengers on board, yet she had a capacity of about 3,500. 1,000 of these would be crew. There were 908 crew members on board in 1912, but fewer passengers. There were 709 in third class, 324 in first class, and 284 in second. The captain and between 1,490 and 1,635 other passengers perished as the ship sank. Number 5. The estimated overall wealth of the passengers in first class was $500 million. John Jacob Astor IV is credited with $87 million of this total. Astor and his wife Madeline boarded the Olympics on their trip from New York in January 1912. Astor, one of the wealthiest persons in the world, was the Titanic's richest passenger on the ship's return voyage. He perished in the sinking because it was customary to put women and children before anybody else. Number 6. In the first class, Titanic was a place of luxury. Passengers dined on 50,000 pieces of bone china crockery provided by Liverpool's Stonier and Company in the liner's 4 restaurants. On board, there were reading rooms, 2 libraries, 2 barbershops, and a darkroom for taking pictures. For a fee of 1 shilling per usage, first-class travelers had access to a heated swimming pool. Additionally, Turkish and electric baths were available for 4 shillings apiece. Number 7. Titanic was officially responsible for delivering mail for the British Postal Service. On decks F and G, there were 5 mail clerks, a post office, and a mailroom, as well as 3,423 sacks of mail. The clerks reportedly gave priority to transporting mail sacks to the upper deck during the 2 hours and 40 minutes it took the ship to sink. Number 8. A lifeboat drill scheduled for the 14th of April was called off. Perhaps because Captain Edward Smith wanted to conduct one last Sunday service before retiring, this happened. That night, the ship sank. Only 1 lifeboat exercise had been conducted by the crew when the ship was at anchor. There wasn't enough room for more than a third of the ship's maximum capacity, even if the crew had received greater training and each lifeboat had been fully stocked. It was anticipated that the ship would not capsize and that there would be enough time to evacuate the passengers. The Merchant Shipping Act of 1894, which was not amended to include ships beyond 10,000 tons, allowed for this error. Number 9. The wreck was discovered in the last 50 years. 3,700 meters below the surface of the Atlantic is where the Titanic wreck is located. It wasn't found until 1985, and it was then determined that the boat had split in 2. A military effort directed by Robert Ballard to examine the wreckage of a few nuclear submarines includes the task of locating the Titanic. Around a third of a mile separates the divided bow from the separated stern. A 15-square-mile area is covered in ship debris. Due to the inaccessibility of many regions of the ship to underwater vehicles, many are still undiscovered. Number 10. Titanic's legacy endures. Numerous movies and documentaries have been inspired by the Titanic disaster. the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra presented a requiem that was composed by Robin and R.J. Gibb that chronicles the Titanic's launching, voyage, sinking, and aftermath. Although the ship cannot be transported to the surface because it is too fragile, countless smaller pieces and items have been recovered. On the Las Vegas Strip, many, including a portion of the hull, are housed in the Luxor Hotel. That's it for today. See you in the next video.